So guess who forgot to click go vertical? Because the cat was stabbing my knee. So we are not vertical at the moment. So we're going to play the music over, and we'll see you in 3.5 minutes while I take care of my bloody knee from Olive jumping on me. Yeah. What a day. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the newscast that's in widescreen, because Olive jumped on my knee just as I was about to finish setting things up, and I completely forgot to change to vertical format. So, Olive Parsons says Olive is the hero we need. How you doing, Verbo? How you doing?
Apparently better than you. Or you're bloody.
Yeah.
Did you get a Band-Aid on it?
No, I
Are
just
you
put
allergic to Band-Aids?
No, I'm not allergic to Band-Aids, thankfully, but Olive blindly jumping while I can't see her, trying to kill me at the same time, I don't know. All I know is this ruins what I had planned tonight. I had the elaborate troll planned for someone, and now you can't see it because we have to do the widescreen format ones. I planned all day for this. I planned all day for this.
Karmic retribution. Karmic
is not.
retribution.
It is
Have you
not.
tried clipping Olive's nails?
I'm not going near Olive like that. She'll kill me. And no, we don't get them declawed either, because that's just cruel.
Oh
So,
no, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's messed up stuff, man. I mean, you adopt
yeah,
a cat that's already declawed, you can't help that, but please don't declaw your cats. It's weird.
we adopted one who just had her front nails declawed in the 70s. And she would get outside, and I would find mice in the yard stabbed to death with her back claws. And it was just gruesome. So she was still pissed off about it. Anywho, let's go into our first one today, which is now widescreen, because, bleeding and widescreen, and tomorrow there will be new disturbing captures. Oh, yes, there will.
Oh, my God.
If this ever comes up. GoFundMe, DeCastro humiliated by LIA. The string of losses keep piling up for Jose Chile DeCastro. Once describing himself as the best fundraiser in the world, he's now gone 4 days without a donation to his crowdsourcing campaigns and lost Monday to Sean Paul Long Island Audits Riaz. Riaz's Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign pulled in $50 to take the win on Monday, followed closely by her own ongoing expenses fund with a $35 take. Our second place showing, and any showing at all, effectively crushing our dreams of multiple days of goose eggs, as we're both pleasantly surprised by donations and soul-crushingly depressed about having to continue to write this very column. But at least we're not Chile DeCastro. DeCastro's Legal Defense Fund crime scene tape illegal arrest campaign hasn't had a donation in 2 months and stands at $2,315 out of its $30,000 goal and an 8% completion rate. This was the campaign that was supposed to be funding his high-powered lawyer for his upcoming trial in Las Vegas for obstructing an officer. No, not that one, the other one. This is the one where he was out and alone on the streets of Vegas in February of this year and decided to walk under some crime scene tape and confront police officers who were investigating a fatal traffic accident. That's his worst campaign, but they're all bad in their own ways. His lawyer fund only, all dollars go to lawyers campaign, sits at $20,922 out of a $25,000 goal and 85% completion rate. It hasn't had a donation in the past 8 days. This fund was originally set to raise money to fulfill his promise to Garrett Press with Ranker Van Nett to pay his legal bills. DeCastro has no choice about that promise as he stupidly signed a contract to cover the expenses. But this campaign later evolved into every dime going to DeCastro's own legal defenses. DeCastro's Legal Aid Fund Donation Fund Help People Fund, again, which had the original purpose to help others with legal needs before being converted into a straight put money into my own pocket fundraiser, is stuck at $27,015 out of a $35,000 goal and hasn't seen a donation in 4 days. Rounding things out, his newest fund, Justice for All Legal Battle for Accountability, hasn't had a donation in 4 days and is stuck at $4,508 out of a $100,000 goal. DeCastro launched this campaign when he was released from jail and promised that every person who donated would be invited to a party and have a hotel room purchased for them with the money he would get from the 7-figure payout from the lawsuit he was filing against Nevada once he reached the $100,000 goal. Well, it looks like the 56 people who donated won't get their chance to party with DeCastro anytime soon. The fund is concerning because it started so strongly and immediately fizzled as DeCastro squandered all the goodwill he had in his return and is not connecting with his donors. DeCastro recently claimed that he put out roughly $70,000 in legal fees this year, with $17,000 coming out of his own pocket. The remaining $53,000 came from his donors, either through crowdsourcing or direct donations. He's made $54,760 from his GoFundMe campaigns, more than likely $52,000 after GoFundMe takes its cut, which was roughly the money he needed to cover his legal bills. But that was for his existing legal bills. He still has to pay his attorney in Maryland to fight the upcoming Cullen Project Constitution Campbell harassment case. He still must pay another $10,000 to his lawyer in his ongoing Las Vegas city obstruction case. He still is paying Michael Mee for his ongoing federal civil rights lawsuit against the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. We're not even getting to the $100,000 he claims he needs before hiring the best civil rights lawyer for his wrongful arrest, wrongful conviction case against the state of Nevada. Any cases against the corrupt justice of the peace Ann Zimmerman. Plus, he still owes $30,000 to Press with Ranker's attorney for a contract he signed earlier in the year. DeCastro hasn't live-streamed in 2 days. He's made a handful of trifold and 5A cop card sales in the time he's been on the air since getting out of jail, matching the sales with special donations and giveaways. We'd estimate he made $500 to $1,000 in actual on-air sales since returning. We know Social Blade projects his YouTube monthly earnings to be between $3,600 and $57,600 a month, so maybe we're wrong and he's rolling in cash because he just got paid by YouTube. But something else tells us that with the suspicious views and short views, those earnings are on the low side. He wouldn't need to crowdsource for $100,000 to buy a lawyer if he was making $57,600 a month. Food for thought as we go into another day. So yeah, I don't believe Social Blade. Wallace announces return to Colombia in the never. How the hell did it do that?
I don't know. Is the cat also pushing buttons on the side? Is it the cat's show tonight?
It might be, but she's over. She's over in the chair. She's nowhere near the computer. I bet you I just picked the wrong one. Yeah.
Telekinesis. Cat telekinesis.
Chili's in a shit ton of debt, and he disappeared. Huh. No show Sunday, no show Monday. Maybe today he'll live stream. Maybe. But, I mean, he owes so much. And we looked at the 70 grand that he's put out, and essentially that would have been all of the GoFundMe money.
Right. Well, it's funny that at first, when he was going after Kate, you know, he had diabolical motivations, right? He wanted to, like, bury her in paperwork, financially ruin her, you know, follow her to the ends of the earth and harass her, kind of thing, right? And
you mean everything he says he's going to do to Zimmerman? Yeah.
Right. By and large, most of that is fizzled out, right? There's still some kind of ongoing legal stuff, but it's really here nor there at this point. But he's brought that upon himself with all of these debts and these legal bills he's chosen to take responsibility for, and all these lawsuits he has now popping up that, you know, he's failing at. You know, he owns sanctions for, or punitive damages or whatever.
Oh yeah, I didn't even include those.
His stuff is weird. Right. So he's dug a hole into the position that he was trying to put Kate in, and I find that kind of delicious.
And Gia, he's not even a law scholar anymore because he's hiring lawyers for every case. He's no longer defending himself. It's exactly what Paul Unslave said. Chili is no longer a scholar because he can't defend himself as a scholar. He's just a guy hiring lawyers now.
Right, that he can't afford.
Yes.
That he cannot afford.
I mean, seriously, when he goes an entire broadcast where he's selling maybe 10 trifolds, and mainly the digital ones, so that's like $6 he's making, and then he's giving away trifolds left and right.
It's a garbage product to start with. He totally saturated his market. Any market outside of that, Colin is saturated. There's really nobody
Yeah,
to sell them to anymore, and his viewer base, he does have some people of means within his viewer base, but that's not the majority of his viewer base. And he milked them dry unapologetically and without any ethics. It was awful. Told them to skip meals and stuff. It was absolutely unacceptable. And the economy has kind of taken a little bit of a turn. Like
right.
these people don't have disposable income. They don't. And it's not ethical to ask them for anything. It's not ethical to ask them for support like that. Their participation should be enough. It should be
Pl-
absolutely enough. But it's not. It's not.
Plus, they can
Not for him.
only buy so many copies of a trifold. You know?
Right. That's what I'm saying. The market's saturated. He needs a
Yeah.
new product. He can't keep
And
hawking the same one.
or he needs to revamp the trifold again and start selling new copies. Change it to green, change it to black, do something. But I remember when he split with Colin, he refused to go back to TikTok. That was one of the things they were fighting over. And Colin has simply taken over TikTok with his products.
Yeah.
With the products he
Yep.
claims that he designed for Chile. He's making, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he's
don't
not
know.
making great money, but he's making
But he's
money.
making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
So,
got the TikTok market. He's saturated that. He's making, scraping by somehow with the coattails of Chile's products. Their relationship was weird and nebulous to begin with. I really don't
right.
know how much rights Colin actually has to any of that stuff, but regardless of what he may or may not legally have, he's run with it, and he's having some marginal success.
Okay, let's dive into our next story. This one's for Gia. His return to Colombia. In the never-ending will he stay or will he go story of Floyd Wallace, the YouTuber announced on Monday that he was attempting to leave immediately for Colombia once he raised the money for the trip and retrieved a new social security card from Nebraska. The YouTuber's Monday early stream was devoted to fundraising for the trip, claiming he only needed $192 of the $240 round-trip tickets would cost if he were to purchase the tickets right away. He warned of the urgency as funding his trip would cost his fans a low price now, but would become much harder for his fans to pay for closer to his departure date. Wallace said that he would pick up girls and get himself some women to feature on camera for his viewers if only they donated. He said that women are much easier to bed in Colombia, and he wanted to stay for 2 months this time, saving a month on his visa for a return trip later this year. Addressing his ongoing criminal case, with jury selection for his trial in Oklahoma set for August 14, 2024, for charges of obstructing an officer, Wallace implied that he could simply have his lawyer delay the trial for 2 months at a whim, and the charges were nothing to worry about. Despite saying he was going to leave immediately, Wallace announced that he needed to travel to Nebraska before leaving in order to get a new Social Security card. His previous Social Security card and driver's license were lost or stolen as he re-entered the United States earlier in the year. While Wallace can simply fill out an online form and go to any Social Security office to retrieve a new card, he seemed to be insistent on traveling to Omaha, Nebraska before leaving for his extended vacation in Colombia. When asked about the woman known as the Stud, who served as Wallace's personal Uber maid, sex partner, and cook during his last visit, he laughed at the thought of reuniting with her as their last encounter went sour. Wallace promised that he's purchased a chest harness for his phone and will be able to secretly film his conquest in Colombia if his fans fulfilled his fundraising demands. The YouTuber ended his stream early as no one had donated in the hour of live broadcasting. Wallace has since set the stream to private status.
I'm
Well, there's
sorry,
your
he got a
dose.
chest harness to secretly
Yes.
film in Colombia. So what? He's gonna do like a buttonhole where the camera sticks
No, no,
out, and
no,
he's just going
no.
to what?
He's gonna wear the harness, put his phone in it, push record, and think that the women won't notice because this is Floyd
What?
Wallace. Yeah,
What?
he's just going to wear it
None of this makes
openly.
sense.
He's
This
going to wear it
okay? That's not
openly.
secretly filming. That's openly
But he
filming. These are
thinks
mutually
it's secret.
exclusive ideas.
He thinks it's secretly filming because the girl's not going to know if it's on his chest.
Well, at least he's stupid enough to just advertise to everybody what he's doing all the time. So at least we have
Yes.
that.
And
At least we
speaking of
have that.
stupid, Chili is now live with 374
Hey.
people watching, the most he's had since his return. He had like
Well, there you
600 for his
go.
return. So,
He's
yeah,
not missing.
we were hoping. Let's see. Present.
And I find, why on earth did he call this woman the stud? Because
I
the
don't
stud
know.
has a different definition that's a little bit spicy that usually has nothing to do with women. So I don't
Well, what?
understand the nomenclature.
Well, first, hello, Facebook Fonda. Hello, Facebook Karen. And now you can explain what a stud is, which is quite different than what a stud is from the 1980s, where most of us remember it from.
Oh, when you would like your wife to have relations with someone other than you, the husband, you call a man over. That's called a stud, and you enjoy that. That's a thing that you would like to happen.
Okay, then. And the stud was his Uber driver who he picked up and she became his slave. She would drive him everywhere. She would cook for him. She would clean for him. She would do his laundry. She would basically take him everywhere, wouldn't charge him for the Uber rides, and basically he treated her like crap. Said she didn't really speak English. He'd insult her right on camera while she was standing there. And
God.
okay, so she wasn't the most attractive person in the world, but that woman did everything for him. You at least treat her with respect. You do not diss her to her face and think that you're getting away with something. She is very lucky to have had her during his time there. And he's also very lucky that she didn't translate what he was saying and chop his balls off. Because I woulda. If that was me, I would have just taken the cleaver.
I mean, can we just start with a different base of she's a human and we should just kind of treat her with some respect, just as a base, and just kind of see how it goes. That respect can waver, it can grow or recede, just, a little baseline helps everybody.
She seriously was cooking things from scratch. She was making pancakes from scratch in front of him just because he wanted pancakes and it was the middle of the afternoon. I mean, seriously, she would take him to the grocery store, get everything. Of course, he'd pay for it, but still, she would do everything for that man, and he just doesn't realize how well he had it. So,
I was having a conversation with someone the other day about men demanding make me a sandwich kind of thing, right? And sometimes, depending on what type of situation that you have both agreed to be in, not being a jerk, make me a sandwich, but like providing someone with comfort and nutrition and a safe, nice place to come back home to, especially if you've been working, I don't know, you've been out 12, 14 hours with work and commute, and it's a dangerous job, and you're the breadwinner, and, right? There's a lot of ands in there where you have to provide a certain amount of safety, security, longevity, long-term financial security. There's a lot that goes into that to have any expectation of a sandwich. And he wants all the sandwich benefits with giving not even none of those other things that need to happen for that sandwich, but coming in at a deficit. Like, how dare you, sir? How dare you?
Okay, chat, pick 1, 2, or 3. Make it real fast, because we got to get to stories. And hey, Matt G. 1, 2, or 3, chat. Put it inside chat.
I'm gonna go with 3. I'm feeling like odds today.
Okay, most of them are 3 so far, so 5 threes, we'll take it. Okay, they're all 3s. You cheated. Everyone's saying 3 now. So, okay, 3 it is.
The hearing becomes a circus again. The hearing for Karen Reed's murder trial on Monday lasted a little over 5 minutes as it streamed on various platforms, with Karen Reed.
Yes, if you look really close at your screen, it is Karen Reed staring at Turtleboy's crotch. So, you're welcome.
Oh, God. Oh, Jim.
You saw the photo shoot. I shared that one.
I know. I just didn't know you were going to use it.
Of course I'm going to use it. It's all covered up by text, of course. And
if y'all could see, like, the feral look on her face that's covered up by the text, you'd be upset.
Well, they can if they go to my server and look at Jim's disturbing captures. It's all there.
Hey,
in fact, it was
going to
be. It was all going to be here today but the vertical stream didn't work and we had to do this. And yeah, it doesn't have a nice ending for Turtleboy. That's all I'm going to say. Go to Jim's disturbing captures over on my Discord server and you'll see what happens. So, anyway, back to the story.
New trial set for January 27th, 2025, and a motions hearing set for August 9th, 2024, to go over defense motions to attempt to have 2 of her 3 charges dropped. New Reed attorney Martin Weinberg joined David Dianetti at the brief hearing. The men are set to argue at the August hearing that since they heard from friends of jurors that the jury would have found Reed innocent of 2 of the 3 charges but did not enter that as a verdict, retrying Reed for those charges would amount to double jeopardy. Jurors supposedly were to vote 12-0 in favor of acquittal on charges of second-degree murder and leaving the scene after knowingly causing injury to then-boyfriend John O'Keefe. Reed has since been rumored to be in a relationship with defense attorney Alan Jackson, a member of her legal team. The prosecution countered that the jury was given the opportunity to enter the verdict before a mistrial was declared and declined to do so. Since the trial was over, as the jury said they were hopelessly deadlocked and could not produce a verdict, it is not double jeopardy to try Reed on the same charges as no verdict was ever entered. Judge Beverly Canoni warned both sides that she would hear the motions at the next hearing and to prepare for an immediate appeal from either side depending on how she ruled on the matter. Outside of the venue, members of the Free Karen Reed movement dressed in pink confronted members of the Justice for John O'Keefe movement who were dressed in blue. The color-coordinated protesters appeared ready to battle like 2 groups of henchmen in the old Batman television series, with Turtleboy Aidan Kearney urging action from the pink protesters on a bullhorn. Kearney himself became angered when he spotted nemesis Kate Peter across the street from him and deliberately attempted to approach her multiple times, despite living in fear of her and having a protection order against her. The diminutive blogger protested when a police officer standing next to Peter told him that Peter did nothing wrong, as she was standing and not engaging with Kearney, despite Kearney moving within the confines of the 30-foot distance outlined in the protective order. Enraged, Kearney went to the local police department to file a complaint about Peter violating his protection order and complained loudly on Twitter that he was in a similar situation with ex-girlfriend Lindsay Gaiatini earlier in the year and faced charges of violating the protection order Gaiatini has against him. Kearney spent most of the night on Twitter attacking Peter in a display of his abject terror at the thought of Peter walking free of the obvious abuse of the protection order. Both Kearney and Peter have hearings for alleged existing violations of various protection orders in August. We will cover them as they happen.
Okay, this one we don't really have to get that much into, but yeah, Turtleboy's a dick.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear that he was trying to provoke her. I get the letter of the law that you're supposed to move away. If they come towards you, you are supposed to turn around and walk away and all of that. But I think she very purposefully stood outside the 30 yards of, no, 30 yards, 30 feet, 10 yards of exclusion. She positioned herself next to a three chevron police officer. I don't know what that is, but a three chevron
Right.
one. And
I think it was a
disengaged,
sergeant.
hit her face, all that kind of stuff, which I don't know if that's the letter of the law, but it seems intent was pretty clear that she was not going to acknowledge, engage, or, address him.
Yeah, he kept seeking her out multiple times. It wasn't just the one incident. So, then the
Right.
police refused to do anything about it. So he had his little shit fit.
Yep.
And this one's for Timo.
Benson and DMA protest lack of free Wi-Fi. Regan Benson and Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova stormed their way through the streets of Denver, spreading peace, love, and unhappiness on Monday after being denied the use of free Wi-Fi at a mayoral event in the Paramount Hotel. Mayor Mike Johnston was having a State of the City event on Monday at the private business, but offering it as a public forum. According to Benson, all the members of the mainstream media agreed that there would be no big cameras to cover the event, but reporters could live stream using their phones if they wanted to. Benson and Cordova, as part of the citizen press, did not agree to or know about the terms when going through security or entering the building. They had a brief confrontation with organizers over Cordova's large staff-like camera apparatus. While the pair initially agreed that Cordova would not film using his camera staff, the pair stormed out of the facility when they were not able to obtain either the hotel's private Wi-Fi reserved for guests or the government-run Wi-Fi provided to members of Johnston's staff in order to live stream. Benson immediately took her rage out on members of the Denver police force, including one officer who was sitting in his patrol jeep calmly eating his lunch. Benson asked if the man was on the clock and being paid, and when he answered the affirmative, she demanded he put his lunch down and interact with her as she was a taxpayer, and he would stop what he was doing to answer her questions. When the man continued to eat while answering her questions, Benson attacked him verbally, telling him to screw himself before storming off. She later explained to Cordova that the man was going out of his way to taunt her and was answering questions with his mouth open in a deliberate attempt to taunt her. She said she hoped the officer would soon be fired for being part of the old guard, who are apparently on their way out after the recent lawsuit that was settled in her favor with the city of Denver. Benson continued confronting police officers throughout the 2.5-hour live stream and sharing her thoughts on policing in Denver. She asserted that the recently announced juvenile golfing program put on by the Denver Police Department was an indoctrination campaign to turn children into future police officers and that it was an incredible waste of money. After the governor's event finished, Benson approached the women running the gift bag booth about the fate of leftover gift bags. When she was informed that the leftover gift bags would be distributed to children at schools in the Denver area, she became angry and stated that the kids got everything and wondered aloud why the homeless were always forgotten. Cordova served as Benson's sidekick and yes-man during the event, offering little original thought and seemed incapable of independent action without Benson's approval. While his strange aggression patterns were on full display at the event, he continues to seek approval from Benson before taking any action when the pair are together. The livestream drew an observed 62 viewers out of her 22,000 subscribers at peak viewership.
Okay, this one was weird. Those gift bags had potato chips and a bottle of water. So she wanted to take them all. There were about 300 for the homeless.
Okay, so there were low-value gift bags. There wasn't a whole lot of fancy stuff going on within them. I think most people know and understand that helping someone set themselves up for a successful adulthood starts in childhood. and
Right.
helping disadvantaged or abused, neglected children feel happier, safer, giving them options and giving them resources, help set them up to be people who do not become into the situations that we see Regan focusing on all the time.
Right.
So you would
And
think that the harm reduction would be in line with her ideals.
And the fact is, when you run something like that, you always have what you're going to do with your spare stuff picked out in advance. So it wasn't like they hadn't already committed to the kids and suddenly are just being mean and saying no. They had a plan for what to do with these bags. And her throwing a fit
Right.
is just unreasonable. Like when I worked Oracle, we had t-shirts. I worked the t-shirt booth for 2 years at Oracle's Open World. I was in charge of distributing t-shirts to every person who had a special badge that came to the booth. And we would often have t-shirts left over. And we did have the guys come in saying, well, why don't we just give them to the homeless? Outside people saying, we'll just take them for a homeless shelter. And you're like, no, these are going to employees who weren't here or who deserve some sort of recognition. I know it's a lousy t-shirt, but at Oracle, anything from the company is better than nothing. We had a whole list of people to send the t-shirts to. Yeah, but it's still, it's
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had it all planned, Yeah, but we had a distribution list all set up, and the guy threw a fit because we weren't just going to give him boxes and boxes of stuff for the homeless. It's just, it doesn't work that way. When you organize an event, you have plans for the stuff that you're going to, the excess. So, anyway, one last news story. And no, Olive, stop it. You've already drawn blood today, kid. Let's see, what was the last? Okay, we've got our last one.
LVMPD responds to DeCastro over motion to dismiss. Jose DeCastro was conspicuous by his absence from live streaming for the second day in a row, as he failed to appear on YouTube nor address Monday's filing by the defense in his civil case against the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. Extending DeCastro's very bad weekend into Monday, the filing by the Las Vegas Metro Police Department's reply to DeCastro's reply to their motion to dismiss essentially humiliated the First Amendment auditor, as it showed that he put little to no effort into his reply to have the case continued. Addressing the elephant in the room, DeCastro's recent state-level acquittal on the appeal of the charges involved in the case, Craig R. Anderson, representing the LVMPD, asserted that the ruling did not matter, as the judge in the federal case already ruled that police had probable cause to arrest DeCastro for obstruction in the case. Directly addressing DeCastro's accusation that he backed up after being commanded to do so, Anderson referred to the body cam footage that clearly showed that DeCastro ignored multiple commands to back up by the arresting officer and only backed up after the officer announced that DeCastro was being detained. Addressing DeCastro's claims that he aggravated a shoulder injury in the arrest, as 2 sets of handcuffs used on him to extend his range of motion were not enough to prevent further injury, Anderson pointed out that DeCastro had the opportunity to provide medical experts or medical records to show that an injury indeed occurred, and he declined to do so. Likewise, DeCastro had the opportunity to show that he suffered damage from a blow to the groin, or that Officer Jesse Sandoval used significant force on DeCastro's arm, but declined to even attempt to give proof that either injury ever happened. DeCastro's claims that he was defamed by the officers who he claimed made false statements in the reports and that he was lied to about the reasoning for his arrest were also in question, as neither had anything to do with the actual motion to dismiss the case. Anderson closed the reply by requesting the ability to reply if DeCastro was allowed by the judge in the case to update his reply to the motion based on his recent state-level acquittal of the charges made in the case. DeCastro is suing the LVMPD for $5 million. He is represented by attorney Michael Mee in the federal civil rights lawsuit.
And that one was a fast one, but yeah.
Mhm.
A story for tomorrow is that the judge in the appeal finally issued her written order. And her written order is counter to what the federal case has found so far. She says that Chile complied when he was asked to back up, and it was the fault of the officer for not saying how far.
That's interesting.
Now,
We'll
it's
see how
not
it
going
shakes
to...
out.
Yeah, it's not going to impact the federal case because the judge in the federal case reviewed this whole thing last fall and said that there was probable cause for the arrest. So the officer had every right to arrest him for both counts. So he then dismissed the charge by Chile for a wrongful arrest based on the fact that he found probable cause, and he dismissed it with prejudice. So even though Chile's ignored it and still tried to refile it, he can't. Literally can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we all know he didn't hurt his ulnar nerve. There's a bunch of us that have had those nerve studies done. It's like electrified little needles that go in and they send signals back and forth. You can't fake it. It's metrics that you have no control over whatsoever. It's very unpleasant. And a bunch of us have had them done. Having those a doctor come in and do like one of those evaluations that you bring into court costs about $20,000 for each specialist. He doesn't have the money for it. He doesn't have the money for it. Because I have a bunch of them done. They're like 300 pages each. They're exceptionally professional. They can go and testify in court. They're an expert witness on your evaluation. He doesn't have the resources for that or the injury to prove it.
And two things. At first, he was saying the wrong fingers were numb. They were two fingers that were not controlled by the ulnar nerve. He only changed when everybody pointed out that he was saying the wrong fingers. And two, the only proof of any medical treatment whatsoever is an undetailed receipt from an urgent care. So he went to urgent care, had his blood pressure taken. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, and that's nothing. That's really nothing. And the only upside to actually having like neuropathy or peripheral neuropathy is when you get this done, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Yeah, well, and he's literally asking for $5 million based on a note from urgent care and nothing else.
Right. Yeah, that's not how any of this works at all, ever.
But on that note, folks, in about 17 minutes, the actual produced version of our newscast will be coming out. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock where it counts, 6 o'clock Mountain, and 5 o'clock on the West Coast, we will have our Tuesday on a Tuesday panel. Looking forward to that. We'll have, I know Pants is supposed to be there. I know Verbo's being there. Phil may or may not be there, and we'll see who else shows up. So, including the lovely Rose. We'll see if she's done her killing spree and is in the mood to talk. On that note, any last words, Verbo?
I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by, and all hail Olive, the bringer of the horizontal.
Let's go to the closing credits. Yeah, and it's the long one, so at least I know when to hit end stream.